So May's numbers in terms of people coming through to the hub, we had 81 referrals. So we saw a dip in April, and it went back up to 81. Was kind of trying to understand the thematic side of things as to why it dropped down from 100 to 70. But as you can see on screen, it went back up to 81. So 81 referrals, again, above the national average. The national average is the red line, is at around 52 cases per month. And then as we look into cumulative referrals by employer, so this is when we started to now, we have Luft on 291 and Liverpool University Foundation Trust, that is. And then we have Merseycare on 283, closely followed by St Helens and Knowsley, and then Mid Cheshire and the Countess of Chester. And as we look to the bottom end of this, we have, like I said, we included PCNs in this at the same time now. So we have a lot of PCNs at the bottom. This is purely because we've just done a big drive with the Northwest team and the PCNs and the PCN leads. So they're slowly creeping up. We can see that NWAS has grown as well as the police. In terms of blue light services, we have the fire, and I think they have 3. So I will just pause there because Martin, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, just a quickie. Is that over 12 months, is it?
It is, yeah. So this is cumulative, and I'll tell you more about this in terms of where we are in the hub update as well.
Okay, so cumulative from when?
So it's when we first started.
Right, okay.
So
thanks.
if you're after a 12-month update, I can tell you that in the hub update bit. So as we move on, organised by employer for referrals for last month, we have Merseycare with 21, Luft on 8, Countess of Chester on 7, Liverpool Women's on 5, and Cheshire and Wirral Partnership on 5 as well. So we don't give any less than 5 because it's confidential aspects where it's patient identifiable information. So as we look at the roles, a breakdown of roles from qualified midwives to doctors to non-clinical support roles, we had nurses and midwives qualified and trainees coming in at 30. We had 16 healthcare assistants. AHPs was coming in at 9. Non-clinical support role at 8. Other is where they've failed to, well, not failed, but they haven't provided any information, so it's just classed as 1. And then we have managers and non-clinical at the same time as well. So in terms of outward referrals, where we've been, this means that the right support wasn't available for these people in-house. So we've gone outwards to our partners. So we've had 20 nurses and midwives, 6 doctors and consultants, 4 managers and leads. Other clinical is 27, and non-clinical staff is at 22. And then we've had 5 pathway support cases this month. That's help around housing, debt, finance, social engagement, that sort of stuff. And we provide that in-house with Judy, who's on the meeting. That's essentially May covered in terms of where we are. Does anybody have any queries or questions about the numbers? No? Okay. Well, I'll move on to Hub Update, the moment you've all been waiting for. So you've all have heard by now, you've all have received communications that the funding for the hub has currently ended. So the funding from for this financial year has essentially led us to be an unfunded service. Merseycare have put money aside for us to ensure that staff members on current wait lists are seen, so there'll be no changes to their care pathways. There are 41 hubs up and down the country, and a good portion of these have already closed. Our funding model for the hubs was come from central government, and it was around COVID. Now, on paper, COVID's finished, and in inverted commas, nobody's stressed, nobody's burnt out. So they've said there isn't a need for the funding to continue. So they've gone to NHS and said, "Can you fund this?" Um, NHS has looked at the data, and because there's a lot of in-house support, they've said, "Well, actually, if you go to the ICBs and ICSs, they should be able to help support." Across the patch, it's majority of the hubs will be dwindling. So if they haven't shut now, they will be shutting come September, October time. There are a few. The original vanguard for the hubs is Manchester because it was got brought together because of the arena attack. That will still happen. Manchester hub will still happen, but it'll be lots of different arms and legs coming off it. So in terms of us as a hub, we're currently having conversations with the ICB, and it's been a turbulent few months across both sectors, going back and forth, providing data insights, and conversations are still currently happening. However, if conversations don't reach a funding model by I think, is it December time? Then we need to look to start to wind down the service. That means CMRH will cease to exist and staff members in CMRH will be redeployed elsewhere and the hub will no longer do interventions. Um, so we've from that we've had to enact a wind down trajectory, which basically says it's a plan of action by March 2024. If we haven't got a funding model in place, we will shut the service down. And we've started to do that already by not doing outreach as much or stopping systemic. And then on Monday, we stopped taking referrals for one-to-one psychological interventions. Now, we do have a lot of data sets, and this is what I was alluding to earlier, Martin, is we have a lot of data sets for your organisation in terms of specific usage, percentage usage, clinical time that's been allocated to your organisation. Your HRDs do have this information, or they can share it out. If not, we can share it out to you as well. Just drop us a mail and we can share it out. We can give you insights as to how many staff have come through for wellbeing workshops, how many staff have had clinical interventions, and we can look at the data sets behind it. We don't provide that information in this meeting because, like I said, it's client confidential information type of thing. So like I said, it's been a turbulent few months, up and down around the houses and back again. So we stopped taking referrals on Monday. A few slipped through after the 9 a.m. cut-off point because technology. So we've honoured these because it's our fault, essentially. There was only, I think, 2 or 3, but we've stopped taking referrals now, and that means all clients on current waiting list will be assessed and also allocated therapy slots within the coming months. The view to this is that we will have um, clinical time set aside for this, albeit if staff don't jump ship. We have recently just had our away day and allocated specific clinical time to ensure that all people on the waiting list will be seen. Um, we won't be going anywhere until March 2024. We need to make that clear. An example, Lancashire Hub had 3 weeks to turn around and shut their service down. That will not happen to us because Merseycare is guaranteed funding aside for all the people, all the clients on the current waiting list. So, like I said, we stopped taking referrals, but everyone will continue to just have a normal care pathway. And there'll be more allocated clinical time. So say we work on, say, step 2, step 3, step 4. Step 2 is lower, a lower need. Step 4 is a higher need. Once people have started to finish step 2, there'll be more clinical allocation for step 4 type of thing. So the waiting list, whilst the waiting list might look high at the moment, they will go down and they will even out over the course of the next 9 months. Um, Things like assertive outreach is still happening. Um, we've moved it to a more digital approach. We've an example at the moment. We're doing like a staff recognition or staff awards thing, where we're going around letting people know that they've been nominated and get like a little wellbeing pack. A lot of it will become digital, like the health and wellbeing we've just recently done, and we will still have contact with you guys to try alleviate pressures where we can. I know it doesn't makes sense when your waiting lists are getting bigger. We're just offering a workshop or anything like that. But everything is going digital. So in terms of like a legacy, we had our team away day the other day, and we're planning for two aspects here. One for a service shutdown and one for a service continuation. So behind the scenes, I've got like a ghost website. So all the changes that we've made, we can just revert back to, say, just having the referral form put in place, everything else. Um, it's quite tedious because when technology isn't on your side, I tend to have a hissy fit because it annoys me. So where we currently are at the moment, we are creating an online catalogue of resources and putting everything in one place. And you'll see on the website that the website now has a wind down trajectory aspect. So we've got an FAQ frequently asked questions document on there. We have partner information. So I've been annoying you all recently saying, can you send me a link to your internal wellbeing page just in case your staff might not have access to this. And we're also bringing stuff like primary care together as well. So where do primary care get support and whatnot. So we're trying to tie everything in one place. So we're bringing everything together, um, like videos that we're currently doing. We're starting to record more. So the CBT skills workshops, all the workshops that we have got coming up, any new workshops that we're creating, um, and all the stuff that we've done previously, like sleep hygiene group and whatnot. So all of this will be recorded. And what we're also looking at doing is having a lasting legacy. So we don't know whether the website will exist. And if it doesn't, then we'll use our YouTube channel. We'll create everything into videos. So we'll have podcast vlogs, team support stuff. So like I said, we don't do systemic stuff. So we'll start doing all of that as recorded workshops. So you guys can still utilize that, send it out to your teams and whatnot. Um, we're currently in the process, poor Judy and Rebecca are in the process of creating a massive community directory, and not to reinvent the wheel because you've got all these live well directories that's happening. But what we're doing is we're putting on our partners that we've linked with. So this will be accessible to you. Whether it will be on the website, we don't know yet because our website's kind of like a flat pack IKEA website. Um, if it doesn't work like that, what we'll do is we'll send you this directory so you have complete access to it, and you can just, it's all on tabs. So it's BAME support, relationship support, this, and so on. So it's really easy to find, and we'll provide you with all the contact details as well. Um, and I've just alluded to this. So systemic support, like we've stopped it. However, we are looking at changing our podcast. So we have a podcast on all the big platforms called The Big Conversation. And what we're looking at doing is putting everything in one place. So like reflective practice where staff members can just listen to it and do it that way. We'll also put it on the YouTube as well. So it'll be accessible that way. We're just trying to plan for it in case we're not here. Where do you guys get the information? And we're trying to make it as accessible as possible. Um, so in terms of questions, um, this meeting, so I've emailed Paul from the ICB early on and asked to have a meeting with him in the coming weeks about what happens with this meeting, because as we're unfunded, if you will, we don't supply information. I mean, we can still run this meeting for the foreseeable for 9 months and so on, but I'm just trying to think. I don't want to lose what's been built up over time for you guys in terms of health and wellbeing. So I'm going to be linking with the NHS Northwest team and the ICB to bring some sort of order together to have a monthly meeting where you guys have a space to share, learn, develop, and whatnot from. But there are, you can have your say. There are three different options to have your say, if you would. So the ICB board, and this depends how ballsy you want to be, but the ICB board, you can ask questions. Staff members can ask questions to the board. I've put a link there. It has to follow the process. Whether it gets answered or not, I can't control that. But there's that opportunity there to ask questions. The British Psychological Society have a national campaign, not just for us, but all for the other hubs called #Fund NHS Hubs. They've had media releases, they've got motions tabled in Parliament, and what they've done now is actually created a campaign that you just fill your details in and it'll email your MP directly saying fund this. We have had some responses back from MPs, um, without being too political, it was kind of neither here nor there. So the more noise that is being made, the more it'll get picked up. And that's, like I said, it's a national campaign. It's been backed by Stephen Fry, people like Alistair Campbell and whatnot. So again, the links there. The Chief People Officer for the ICB is aware of this. This is where the communications originally come from. This is Chris Samosa. If you want to contact the ICB, if you don't have Chris's email address, you can use the general contact form. And yeah, that's essentially a whistle stop tour in 6 months. What's been happening? I will happily take questions, and if I can't answer them now, I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yes, please be gentle. Ben.
Thanks, Lee. Lee, I think on behalf of everybody on the call and people that are missing, I think we just need to recognise how amazing this service has been. Um, I know behind the scenes how tirelessly you've been working and the other service managers to contain this, if you like. And it's really, really unfortunate that this is the path that we're going down. But on behalf of everybody, I just want to say thank you, because it's been an absolute godsend. And when I'm doing some number crunching this and now to look at how this is going to impact on our service, it will significantly, to the point where we're going to have to recruit to post to make sure that we're supporting the backlog. So, like I say, on behalf of me and everybody on the call, thank you. And thank you to everybody within the service. I'm sure if there's anything that we can do within that political permission, if you like, because it is quite contentious, this, I'm sure that we'd all be happy to. In terms of this meeting as well, moving forward, I think it's invaluable, the fact that we're all round here. I know a few of us are on other calls where we're looking at mini collaboratives. And if you are meeting with the ICB, I'm more than happy, Lee, bear in mind that it might not be you that can take this forward, but certainly I'll put myself forward and there'll be others who are happy to take this forward. It might mean a bit of a different format and structure,
Yeah.
but nevertheless, I think there's real value in making sure that we're all having the same conversations, given the fact that we all support the same geographical footprint. But thank you. And like I say, if there's anything that we can do, bear in mind, I know it is quite contentious, but we're more than happy to.
No, I really appreciate that. I'm outside of work. I am a gob on a stick. I am very political. I grew up in children's home, so I've learned to love politics type of thing. And there's a fine line where I've got to draw that line and say, right, I can't get too involved in this. That's why I've put in and it'll be in the presentation, the options. That's the do what you want to do with whatever you need to do, but just also remember you have a job.
Yeah.
For the ICB type of thing.
Just a question, like, has this gone to previous clients in terms of the options of staff being made aware separately? Sorry, I probably go into. I'm asking you questions that you shouldn't maybe answer on here. I'll pick it up with you after.
Yeah, it's in a sense, we've got to be careful with what's saying because we're still our service, if that makes sense. And I'll definitely link after you, and I'll give you the insights and where we're currently on what can be done. But yeah, really appreciate your feedback though, Ben. Thanks very much. Like I said, it's been a 6 month topsy-turvy journey. We got heads up from Yorkshire and Humber in January. So then it was getting the meetings together, getting the right people around the table, and then filtering through to find out where we are. So yeah, it's not nice, but here we are. And I know the impact on your services, like I was saying to Martin, in terms of the data sets when we're looking through all of this. You've got such smaller services whose health and wellbeing teams are going to be really impacted by this. So it's kind of, we are still fighting. We haven't given up. We haven't put the flag in. We always say to people, like, let's have these conversations, whether it becomes a buying service or an EAP aspect. There's still ground to go on. Kathy, I'll come to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it just really highlighted to me how much, well, I particularly relied on your service from when I started here 2 years ago. I got what you were doing, it completely went within me. I knew what you were doing. Whereas other services, I was always quite like, I'm not quite sure what they do, I'm not quite sure. So now that we're losing you, so to speak, and I've been speaking to your champions that kind of pick my brains and tap into me as to who can they go to, who could they find, I was at a loss because you were my go-to. you were the service that I would recommend first time over. So it's highlighted to
Yeah.
me that this service was so needed. It's a shame.
Yeah, this is so part of my remit is to future proof, if that makes sense. And this is what Judy and Rebecca are doing. We're currently all working together on a big community directory. So even though we might not be there in person to pick the brains, you'll have a document or a spreadsheet that you can go, oh, this person, that person. And whilst it's not the best aspect, it's the best of a bad situation, essentially. But like I said, we're not throwing the towel in just yet. The conversations are still happening. There is opportunities to voice your opinions and say what you, well, not from you, but an organisational point of view, what you need to say. And then currently where we are, I've put a bit of a comms plan together, which has muddled with my brain, but this comms plan is a month-by-month comms plan. And it says, by this month we'll have an update, by this month we can share. So I'm going to be pressing the ICB for more information now that the cat's out of the bag type thing, that we need to be giving you guys more information than we do before. By this point we're going to have a shutdown, by this point we're going to do that, and so on, just to keep you guys aligned with everything as well. But it's not just our journey, it's your journey at the same time. So if we can be as transparent as possible, then why not? So I will happily ensure I do that. Does anybody else have any other queries or questions? Judy, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I think it's just following on what Kathy has just said. It's very, very noticeable that when we used to do outreach work and visit hospitals, including, the Countess of Chester, the Royal, various locations, that there's a correlation between seeing somebody face to face and really having that, the conversation. Whereas, normally you can say to somebody, you can go online, but that human interaction is invaluable. And I think, that's what I worry about, losing that opportunity to speak to somebody who may not be, comfortable speaking to maybe, somebody in-house, and having that sort of, autonomy. And also it's a reflection on the rates of referrals. It is significant, as Lee has indicated, that on the pastoral side, I have noticed a reduction in referrals, but we're still taking on referrals, using maybe the social model, the social prescription model. And I think, it'll be nice to think that that will continue after we're no longer available. And that's all I wanted to add, Lee.
Right, well, thanks, Judy. So Judy's just actually alluded to it about the outreach aspect. We haven't done outreach in about 2 months, and we've noticed, and so much so, I have so much tact. I have 1,000 tote bags, 71 lip balms, 563 hand creams, 355 hand sanitizers, 210 candles, and 39 pre-packed bags with 2 items in. So my question is, would you like them? Because we can't go out, we can't do outreach. They are branded content. It's all the stuff. I've got it dotted around everywhere, like hand cream, branded. It is all branded. However,
Yes.
Yes, can I have some?
yeah, I will drop it. I'll drop it I'll put it in the minutes when I say it to everybody, because I've got to make it fair. I've had Merseycare, I don't know, Merseycare comms have been leaking it to people, going, oh, they've got this. And I'm like, stop, I need to ask our partners first. So again, I have all of this tat, what we used for outreach. It's not tat, it's great stuff. But I see that much of it on a weekly basis. It's tat.
Lee, sorry to interrupt there. I'm aware that you just mentioned Merseycare Comms are contacting you about this merchandise. Can I ask that in the event that it is proportionally split up between whoever's interested, that it comes to the wellbeing service, given that this is a wellbeing funded service? Is that all right? And not the diabetes team.
Yeah, it's always coming to you guys first. So
Thank
it'll
you.
come to you guys first as health and wellbeing leads. But should I have anything left after that, it'll be used for the events team or whoever. But yeah, it is, like I said, it is branded content. So whenever you're doing something, just make people aware that We've taken the pens though because we're running out of pens, and they have a little pull-out thing. But yeah, I'll put that in the minutes, and find out where we are with who wants what. But all your little eyes is there. We're like, yeah, we'll have it.
Yeah, there's no budget for freebies at the moment, is there? So that's
This is it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So I mean, the candles are great. They're little mini candles about that big, and they smell like vanilla. The hand cream's all right. We always get compliments about the lip balms. And then it's the tote bags. I've got that many tote bags in my car. I've got rid of all my plastic carrier bags now. It's just tote bag central. Brill. So I'll get that done and dusted. That then brings me to you guys, just partner updates. I do have some updates from other people, but I'll who give apologies, but I'll come to the team first. So, Martine, I'll come to you first. What have you got going on?
Yeah, oh, lots going on. I haven't been able to get to these meetings actually, because there's just so much going on. Well, there's two main things at the moment that's happening. One is that we've done a launch of, well, we've got a new menopause policy. We've done a big launch. We've got advocates that have trained, and we're delivering training on that. And that's been a massive piece of work, and for the staff network. So there's been a big focus, and I think the last session was yesterday, training session. So that will pause now till October when it's International Menopause Day. So that's a massive piece of work, which has really been received so well by the staff. It's just something that's been really, really needed, and been very welcomed. The other part is our occupational health. So we're out to tender at the moment for our occupational health service, and that's been another massive piece of work of trying to get the service specification right, to meet the needs of what staff need compared to when we originally contracted, which was, I mean, it's over 10 years ago. Things have changed and moved on, and we needed to enhance that service. And in September, we'll be doing the same with our EAP. We'll be going out to tender for that. Again, much more of an enhanced service that we're looking for. So I've just been living and breathing menopause, OH, and EAP, and that's been my life for the last few months. So yeah, and you know, Wellbeing Champions and stuff are well established. I have done a review and have refreshed. I've done refresher training with them. Recently, I knew that a lot of our champions weren't active, so refreshed who was active and not inactive. We now know that we've got, you know, active members, which is really good. So yeah, things are going well. I think on the wellbeing side, a lot of activity, and obviously I'm on the steering group for NHS Games as well, and so we're part of that this year, trying to promote that as well. So I mean, there's loads more, but I couldn't list everything. It's just so much. Yeah.
No worries. Ben, you've got your hand up.
I have just a quick one. Menopause Champions, we've just done some champions training. We're undertaking an accreditation through Henpicked, which is a national menopause company. So we've done the training. But I suppose my ask is, it was great that we found some money for the training. It was out of an underspend. But I'm thinking, and like everything, what's the purpose of the champions? What are they doing? Is it a signpost and a brief intervention? Is it a raising awareness? At what level? Is there a role descriptor? How are we managing an activity and the likes of? You know, I've tasked my team to go away and kind of develop basically some sort of role descriptor. So I'm really, really clear on responsibilities, because I think what we see a lot of the time is champion training for X, Y, or Z. They get a lanyard and disappear. So I'm just really keen to understand, Martine, if you've got anything around that role descriptor, what it looks like and how we're coordinating activity and things.
So they're not the menopause staff network group is a support group. It's not champions as such. So it's about them being. It's about, I suppose, about helping. It's raising awareness, isn't it? And it's that them having an opportunity and a safe space, to connect with each other. We did a menopause cafe, I think it was April. I'll do another one in October. And we got our GP champion and our sexual health service, Dr. Wilkinson, who's menopause expert, to come along to that, which was fantastic to have her present. We also have one of the directors, so we've got exec sponsorship as well. So they came, and that was really successful. And that in that cafe, it was amazing. It wasn't highly attended, but it was the conversations that opened up in that safe space. And I think that's what the network is all about, is about people being able to talk about it and it not being taboo and stuff. And the training, so we trained 3 advocates through HEMPICS, and that was to deliver training. So we've done staff sessions, manager sessions, and men only sessions.
Brilliant.
And you know, to kind of really, particularly those men only sessions, was for them to feel comfortable, you know, discussing things, because you know, it has felt very awkward in the past, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But I am
Yeah.
seeing a shift
Great.
in the way that people are now having or speaking about it openly, and that's what we want to see. So they're not, I wouldn't say they were necessarily champions, it's more of a network group.
Okay, amazing. That sounds really, really good. Great to hear that we're doing stuff in the space of males as well. We're after some positive male role models to be able to advocate this, and I think it's absolutely key. And I want it to be in a place where female staff feel comfortable speaking to male managers about this type of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Sounds brilliant.
Well, Chloe, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say my laptop's forcing me to restart in 40 minutes, so it goes. But obviously, I have some updates, but Sam Holder's a colleague as well, so if it does happen to go,
Yeah.
you can provide them after me.
Well, I'll go to Kathy and then I'll come to you and Sam so you can restart. Kathy, I'll come to you.
Yeah, just with what Ben was saying there about the males and the menopause side of things, we recently did the EAP menopause training, and we had some males that came along to that, which I thought was really good. Hoping to promote that a lot more. We have got a policy that is waiting to be signed off as well. We are getting our networks all back up and running, like our women's network, neurodiverse network, LGBT network, getting all those back up and running again. I'm starting the menopause support group tonight, actually, is the first one. And that is about like what someone was saying, Martine was saying earlier on, it's just about having those conversations and talking about certain things that they've come across with the menopause that they never even dreamed was the menopause. They just thought it was them going mad slightly. So doing all that sort of thing, as well as the NHS games, and oh yes, and the NHS is 75 next week, so putting things in place for that as well for the staff.
Well, I think sorry, I just sneezed. I had to go off camera and turn my
Bless you.
mic off at the same time. I think what Ben was saying as well, the whole aspect about positive role models around males being involved in menopause. That's something that we looked at, and we also looked at HEMPICS as well in terms of trying to get something for that. But if anybody has any stuff they want to share out in terms of wellbeing support for menopause inclusive of men, do let me know, and we'll put it on our website.
That'd be really helpful. It sounds like we're all at the journey at some stage. It makes sense to be sharing this. So yeah, great.
Brill. Sam and Chloe over at Luft, I'll come to you.
So I thought I'd just, with us being on the menopause rather than stopping that and starting, we've got quite a successful network of menopause. We've got about 220 people in that network, and I think the process of what we're doing seems to be working. So we started it as having like little menopause cafes and open events where in person where people could talk, and they weren't very well attended. You'd think there'd be more so, but I think people just didn't have the time. Then we just did open Teams conversations where people could just log on and we could have a conversation, and you get the same people talking. So what we decided to do was go down a like teach and talk route. So actually we have every month or every 2 months, we try and do it every month, but it depends on the speaker. We have like a topic or a guest speaker. So we've had diet, we've had physio, we've had myself doing some sleep, we've done self-care, we've had menopause specialists, you name it, we've had pretty much everyone. And we just try and go for people who are in the trust. So who we've got access to, our own professionals, and see if they'd happily do a presentation. They'll do, say, a 15, 20-minute, half an hour presentation, and then we have time for questions and answers. And that's just really well received. And I think if people can't go to it, they've always got access to them presentations. So we've recorded the last couple that we've done, and they've really appreciated that. So yeah, that's been really successful. Rather than going down a policy route, we've done a menopause toolkit. And menopause is just discussed really in our sickness, absence and wellbeing policy. And we've just got a toolkit of resources really for managers and staff. From a men's point of view, we're doing a similar thing. So we're doing 3 training programs. So again, we're doing that just with ourselves. And so it's myself and the equality and diversity that lead that. So we're doing presentations for managers only, just staff, how they can utilise the toolkit, and then men only, where it's like an open forum for them to talk, ask questions. And you know, they do get involved. No men ever come to the meetings, but they will email, they will ask questions. So I think in the background they're there. We just want them to come to the front.
Rachel, before Rachel Cowley left the women, she had a load of stuff that she said was working really well, and the male side of it was also working really well. So I'll get in touch with Rachel London to see if we can get this, and I can share it out to the group then.
Yeah, because that's our next step, and it sounds like that's a few of you others. We have a lot of male managers who just want to help, struggle to understand, and being able to put it out there where they don't have to come to a specific person with a specific question is going to be much more helpful.
Sam and Martine, can I link one of my colleagues in with you guys, just so we can talk about what we're doing here at Mersey Care and where there kind of might be alignment? Is that all right?
Yeah.
If I put her in touch, Trish.
Do you want to get them to set up like a Teams meeting or something?
Yeah, I'll do an introductory email now. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Smashing. Sam and Chloe, what's your update then?
So I suppose if I go first, then I'll pass over to Chloe from a psychology point of view.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've got 8 minutes and 25 seconds.
What you Chloe, and then I'll go.
Oh, okay. Yes. So, yes, the psychology staff support service that we offer for counselling for non-work related issues, the psychology for the work related issues, has and continues to increase and be utilised. There's a business case being put into place, so because we want to employ permanent counselling rather than locums, just because then our workload will hopefully stabilise. Colleague and myself will be putting on some workshops just to kind of target that wait time and hopefully encourage reduce as well. Again, sharing, creating the wellbeing calendars, and trying to utilise what's in the community to add on to that, to take away the strain from internal as well, because it's quite difficult without a budget to put on some things as well, and only utilising the good people offering. So just tapping into community onto that, and then obviously promoting on our social media platforms, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and reposting, as everyone said, you know, NHS 75 years and the NHS Games. And Lee, I don't know if you noticed, I always repost everything that the Cheshire Merseyside Resilience Club do, so that as well. And then linking that in for the wellbeing champions as well. And I know that me and Sam have some sessions coming up in terms of mental health for managers, is it Sam, for high distressed areas. So trying to do as much as we can for mental health, but it's difficult with limited resources. But I don't know if you have anything to add on.
Yeah, thanks, Chloe. Yeah, so pretty much we're trying to do a little bit more upskilling of staff, so it's not all coming to us really. So the training programs that we're doing, we're offering management of mental health at work training for managers, and then we're offering supporting enduring health conditions, and disability awareness and reasonable adjustments is another core training that we're doing. And then the third one is we're doing DSE, obviously not mental health, but we're looking more at that the physical aspects of it as well, and upskilling managers to be able to deal with that within their own staff. We're looking at additional like bite size, utilising the psychologist. We're just waiting for the business case to go through, and we've also potentially, we're just waiting for this job to go through, potentially got a new like wellbeing support practitioner who will be supporting the wellbeing and inclusion strategy really. So they'll be under myself and the EDI lead, just to be able to support some of the wonderful things that we want to be able to do and don't have time to do because we're doing all the other stuff. We're only a small team and we've got such a massive remit to cover really. So yeah, it's exciting. There's loads going on. Yeah, so hopefully.
Brilliant. It sounds really interesting. And Chloe, just to go back to your social media, I know because everything I post, it's I get a notification. I'm like, oh yeah, I see you. It's me who does all the website, all the Twitter, everything like that. So if someone takes something from us, I'm like, oh yeah, I like that.
I like what you post so far. It's really good, and I copy and paste it into Instagram.
I'll take it as a compliment. It's fine. Smashing. Kate, I will come over to you at NWAS.
Yeah, so exciting times. We've got some funding that's been made available to allow us to expand our wellbeing team. So it's going from me, and I'll have a team of 6, which is just going to be incredible. So there's some Band 4's posts that are fingers crossed now that there's been some issues with track, I believe. So that should be up and running, and my post should be able to be advertised today, fingers crossed. So we're going to be setting up a wellbeing hub as part of that team, and the team will also help kind of raise the awareness of the offer that we have got at the moment. Covering the whole northwest, it's obviously a large patch, so really getting people out and about onto sites will help kind of just bring that offer to life really. So yeah, lots of work to do in the coming months, and then hopefully kind of early autumn time we'll be able to establish that team and that hub as well. And then as part of that, we're going to be, hopefully that'll allow us to have more of a focus on delivering those training elements. And I've picked up that a few of you with very similar things happening across teams there as well. And I'm hoping to do some kind of road shows and festivals again to kind of really highlight to staff. I know this has been talked about on other sessions as well. We too have got some menopause champions in, but are just looking, they were brought in a couple of years ago, and we're just looking to do a bit of a refresh. So definitely keen to hear kind of what you're all doing and what's working well, and even better if. And then we're looking to bring in some wellbeing champions as well on top of that. So hopefully again maybe autumn time, and riding everything on autumn. By like Christmas we'll be all singing and all dancing, won't we? And then on top of that,
sorry, go on.
Go on. No, well, my last little bit is just a refresh on our intranet site, really, and that's it. So busy times.
I was just gonna say, because you've come in and it's like all fallen to you, so nothing will happen overnight. And I think all of us, speaking from experience with all these ideas of well-being and putting this in place, it will take months and months to actually get this and this. So stick with autumn as don't give a date, just say autumn time. Because the moment you give a date, that's when you backpedal. Then you're like, oh, I need an extra week, I need an extra 2 weeks. So autumn's a great little all-rounder.
Liking that. But yeah, so if anyone's already got like that wellbeing hub kind of model in place, I'd be really keen to hear from you in terms of when you implemented it, what was working well, and how that's kind of operated. So please feel free to reach out if you've got any top tips. Thank you.
Brill, thanks, Kate. Ben, I started to save you till last because at the last meeting, everyone's face was like, so go on, Ben. You're next on my list. I'll come to you.
Yeah, not much from me. I'll just get the key things off from me. We're going live with our health needs assessment this week. We haven't done this since 2021, and the health needs are very, very different from staff based on financial crisis, social issues that we're seeing. We're asking some really, really, I want to say, poignant and quite uncomfortable questions for staff. Looking at our sickness absence figures at the moment, you know, that they're high in comparison to other trusts of the same demographic and size. So, you know, we're asking stuff around lived experience, whether staff have kind of, you know, neurodiversity, diagnoses, whether they've got things around acute mental health issues, because we need to understand and get to the real grassroots issues as to how we support some of these staff. Also, there's a lot of stuff around the National Women's Strategy. We're including things around manipulation, aggression, violence in work, out of work, belonging. So we're not asking the questions, or sorry, we're asking more questions in addition to the ones around physical health and psychological health. And we're doing a lot in the space of financial well-being also. Bear in mind, we know a lot of staff are struggling, and we know that will impact on how staff are. So I'm happy to share that once, or the data certainly, once we've got that through, because I think, you know, it's something that, again, everyone needs to be doing as the collective voice, that geographical footprint data that could cover us all, you know, to compile that together could be very, very powerful. So I think it'd be great if we could do something similar. In terms of, we used to have an active, well, we did have it, we still have got an active workforce offer in place. We commission an organisation to come in and offer our physical, deliver our physical activity offer across the organisation. Due to funding issues, we were having to take this in-house, and we were looking to develop a health and wellbeing facilitator solely for physical activity. Unfortunately, as ever, due to funding, we're not able to do that at the moment. So we're currently exploring new ways of delivering that. I've talked to you about the menopause accreditation. I've started a little group already. I've got to put a few of you in, so it'd be great if we can get moving with that. Social well-being. I'm looking to do a lot more in the space of how we support social value, tap into local community groups that are already there. And I suppose this is in what's the word? In mind of the rumblings that we're hearing, the noises around this social connectiveness, because I don't think that people are fully recovered from COVID. I think that people haven't gone back to an integrated way of working. Whilst I know I'm extremely busy with family life, with kind of juggling here, there, and everywhere, I know that when I was in a room the other day, someone said it's the first time I've been with my team in a year and a half. So we're looking at how we can tap into pre-existing groups, and I'm thinking choirs, social groups, knitting clubs, but also ultimately as well looking at that kind of anchor model of how we start to work alongside independent businesses to make sure that local independents are, you know, their business is increasing, we're creating jobs, but our staff are getting discounts in them areas. So I've tasked my team at the moment to start kind of doing a bit of a scoping exercise based around the size of our organisation, which isn't as big as Northwest Ambulance Service, but it's still pretty sizey. So I'll let you know how we get on with that also.
Real, thanks, Ben. I was just thinking about the social aspect. Judy would be a great little connection there. What Judy doesn't know isn't worth knowing. She's like the human
Okay.
form of the CAB, fingers in pots everywhere.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Now, don't be blowing me up too much. Yeah.
I'm going to strike while the iron's hot. Judith, I'm going to put you in touch with our facilitators, okay?
If I can help, I certainly will, Ben. My
Wonderful.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Real, thanks, Ben. Jill, I'll come over to you, and then how long we've got left? So we've got 10 minutes, so I'll come over to you, and then Helen, I'll finish with you.
Yeah, similar to everybody else really, but I think our main big one at the moment is we're trying to arrange a health and wellbeing fortnight in October. We've done this differently over the years in the sense of we've had things that have been face to face, we've had it all virtual, we've tried to get around to different sites, and being a community trust that is really geographically dispersed, it does become quite challenging on how we make people feel included in everything that we do. So we're currently pulling that together. And similar to what Samantha said before, we're trying to use the in-house resources that we've got. So we've got a hidden Pilates teacher in the trust that we're going to try and utilise. And linking into different things that people may not think health and well-being links into, so connecting with our safeguarding team and talking about things like domestic abuse and financial support and things like that, linking in with freedom to speak up and how that impacts on people's mental health and well-being within the workplace. Just trying to think of opening up different ways of people realizing what health and well-being is. You know, it's not just about eating your 5 a day and walking, doing a 15-minute walk at dinner. It has so much more involved in that. So we're currently doing that. Again, like others, we're doing the NHS sports games on Sunday, which we're really looking forward to. I think I've signed myself up to football and rounders. Can't do either, but I'm gonna gonna give it a go. And then in relation to the champions, we took sort of like a different approach with the champions. We've had our what we call staff engagement champions in post for some time. We've had them in post since 2017. And all these different champions come on board. So we've got, you know, we've got the menopause champions, health and wellbeing champions. And a bit like what you said, Ben, everybody has these different colour lanyards, and you're like, oh my God.
It's like being a scout, isn't it? A
Yeah,
scout or a Girl
yeah,
Guide.
it's got like the buttons
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So we decided that everybody would be a staff engagement champion. And it would be their role as a champion to cascade information, share what's going on within the trust, and be someone to feed back stuff as well. But also, as a staff engagement champion, they can choose to specialise in different areas. And what that could be, you know, it could be carers, it could be disability, it could be menopause, it could be health and well-being, but they all come under the staff engagement champion umbrella. So we know that information's that all of the information is getting cascaded, but some of the champions have a a specialized focus if they want to, because sometimes they're not. I think some champions don't want to have that specialized focus. They just want to be there as someone to assist and help share that information. And we've included stuff in like digital champions as well, you know, people that can be there to support people that are not as up to date with what's happening on the MS Teams and things like that, because that can become quite a challenge as well for people that are not used to the technology side of it. Um, and then the last one is we're doing some targeted work with teams that are showing high levels of absence due to stress and anxiety. We're looking at teams where over a 12-month period, they've got over 50% of the team have been off at some point with stress and anxiety, but also looking at the proactive approach and looking at the teams that fall within the middle ground where they're at about 30-35%, and just going in there and saying, do you know what health and well-being is? Do you know where to access it? This is what's available to you. You know, working with them from an OD point of view, and linking in with the managers as well to say, this is where we can support you as managers, you know, the health and well-being conversations, supporting them. So that's where we're up to at the moment.
Well,
Thank you.
thanks, Jill. A few comments in the chat just saying people would like to hear more from Kate and also Ben. But could you share that? Kate's put her email address in the chat for you as well. Could you share that with Kate?
Yeah, definitely. What's that
Yeah.
for? Let me just read
That
it.
is for
Is that for the champions model, Kate?
yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
I can share that with you. We've got it in an electronic document thing, so I can share that for you. That's no
Brilliant.
problem.
Cheers, Jill. Helen, I'm going to come to you. However, we're running short on time. So if you don't mind, could you keep it a little bit short and sweet? And you're muted.
I didn't realise I was doing an update as well.
It's all right.
But,
If you want me to, I've got a bit of an update from an organisational point of view from you guys about the merger.
yeah,
I was just going to
yeah.
touch on that.
Yeah, that's all going on from Saturday. I mean, this is my first meeting, so it's lovely to meet you all. Obviously, we're a really well-established hub already
Helen's,
at STH Care.
Helen's from St Helens and Knowsley, by the way, guys. Sorry.
sorry, has that not come up? So, you know, any advice, Kate, with you setting up or anything like that, you just want to get in touch with us and we'd be happy to share, you know, what we've done and what we are doing. We're putting on some great sessions this summer, virtual. I work for the lead employer side, so it's more to do with supporting the junior doctors in more of a strategic way across all of the spoke areas. But my colleague Bernie works in the trust level, so you know we'd be happy to share what we're doing with you, and you can have a look and get a flavour of what we're doing. We just put an update together, so we'd be happy to share that with you as well. But over to you, Lee.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry, it's short and sweet. Welcome to your first meeting, by the way. I thought you'd been before, so apologies.
No.
Just for info, it's now been signed off that St Helens and Knowsley and Southport and Ormskirk will be merging as one hospital trust, and it's going to be Mersey and West Lancashire teaching hospitals, and that is from this Saturday. I only found out about it on Twitter yesterday, contacted Bernie, who's put me in touch with the comms team, who's put me in touch with everybody else. So I haven't got the information needed. But yeah, basically, everything is coming as one. So it's not going to be two separate organisations. They're going to be as one organisation, who might need a little bit of help and support from you guys as well, being leads across the patch when the merger happens. So any advice you can share with people, please do. Once I get further information, I will send this out to everybody in part of one of our hub updates. But I'll keep it short and sweet. We've got a minute to go. Thank you very much, everybody. Does anybody have any questions? No. Time's up. There we go. Thanks. No worries. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Like I said, I will keep you up to date as to where we are with everything that's happening. Sorry that we've literally just finished bang on. I tried to finish 5 minutes before. Have a great weekend when it comes about.